marketing, entrepreneurship, and all things small business. You're listening to the Jurassic Marketing's Triceratalks. Now, here's your host, Justin Miller.
Kevin, we're back in a realistic amount of time.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
We're set.
It might actually come out on schedule. We put our annual magazine out. Listeners that are part of our mailing list world should be getting that. But in the ad for the podcast in there, it's new episodes weekly when we feel like it.
That's pretty accurate. That's about as close as you can get.
But yeah, we made it. Episode 63. This one is the direct mail mistakes that cost you big episode. And, maybe we'll share how to avoid them too.
There you go.
Might be nice. But yeah, we see a lot of mistakes. Some of them are intentional tests. Some are inadvertent. Hopefully they're not production ones, just physically from us producing stuff. But direct mail does have a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of chances to mess up or at least decrease response on the campaign. And we're going to go through, we're going to give you 4 today. Yeah? We got time for 5?
You think so?
No.
4 works. I think 4 is best.
We'll give you 4 ways to improve the effectiveness by avoiding mistakes on your direct mail. So let's just jump in today. I don't have mental capacity and bandwidth for the chit chat. So number 1, actually, you know what? You already read the notes, but if you hadn't, what would you think the number 1 mistake for direct mail?
I would think number 2 would be the first one. Just that would be my first choice, but I think number 1 is pretty close.
Well, if you baited them with number 2 now, because we can't tell them what it is.
Yeah.
Number 1 mistake, wrong list or wrong audience. So there's really, if we look at direct mail, there's only a few core pieces to this. There's the list of who it's going to, there's the offer, and then there's the physical piece itself and the mechanics of that. 3 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And they each have varying effects. But if I had to pick one, they can all make or break you, but if I had to pick one that has the most impact, it's going to be mailing list every time.
Yeah, if you send it if the wrong person gets the info, it doesn't matter how great the info is.
Well, you just gave me one today, right? So
yeah.
You were talking about direct mail you received for a window and exterior company, right?
For a house that's 2 years old that has brand new windows.
I mean,
they send me flyers at least once a month wanting to know if I want a quote for new windows. No, I don't.
It'd be a good account for us to provide, but yeah, so wrong list, right? You probably have nice new vinyl windows in there, and you're not in the market for aluminum ones right now.
Yeah.
So wrong list, wrong audience. Sometimes it's not as obvious as that, right? That's fairly obvious. They could have targeted, I happen to know the company you're talking about, and they have a massive direct mail budget, so they're able to do that.
They just send it everywhere.
Yeah.
So they're not targeting that at all.
It's really a blanket, high volume play. And a lot of times the direct response mailings, some of the largest mailers you see, a successful campaign has less than 1% response.
When you're sending out hundreds of thousands, that's still a pretty good response, right? I mean,
it is, but you got to be careful, though. It's not like, we're losing a nickel every time. Let's increase volume.
Makes me wonder how much more I'd pay for new windows because of all their needless advertising that they spend money on.
I mean, I'm sure there's a margin in there.
It's just saying.
It is a premium product for sure, and it is good. But yes, for sure, you're playing for the marketing a little bit there. But poor targeting is going to kill it all the times. And sometimes we err on the other side. So we have people that call up, they start learning what they can find for mailing lists. Maybe they've been to a seminar or something, and they're like, I heard I could get a list of people missing one arm that live in Roanoke and love to play euchre. And maybe is the answer. You might be able to, but if you overanalyze, you're just as much at risk, because every select, so that's called a select. Every time you pick a criteria, every select introduces more error into the list you get. So if you're selecting 10 of them, your data is not as accurate. As much as I'd like to say the list is perfectly accurate, it never is, okay? There's waste in there. So you're looking for getting an ROI in spite of that and predictably on those criteria, even knowing there's waste in there. So list has got to be right. And yes, we have all kinds of things to check by. Common ones, by the way, most common I see is probably household income. It's geography, household income, maybe family makeup, meaning are there kids in the house? A lot of times things related to finance and mortgage. So, if it's a public filing, the data's probably available. So if mortgage has a lien on your residence, there you go. We know when there was some sort of refi or mortgage or sale.
That could also be I don't live in the most affluent part of an affluent city, but I live in a fairly affluent part of the Quad Cities. I also get postcards on the regular to want to know if I want to redo my bathroom or my shower. Yeah. So those are more based on economic or location than they are on...
Yeah, you might have a local service provider there. So oftentimes it's find me the neighborhood where the house value is around this amount, and it's in the service area I serve. So local campaigns, you have a little more slop, but also you should know the neighborhood. Like if I'm doing a campaign within driving distance, I'm going to go drive through there before I select that route. Or it could have been like an every door direct mail where you and all your neighbors got that, which is much cheaper per piece. So
when Subway does it, I like it, though, because I can go get some lunch.
That's participating locations only.
True.
Use the app. That gets around that.
That's right.
Of course, there's lists for political affiliation, donor tendencies, all that. I won't get into that, but, wrong list. And my friend Brian Kurtz, who is a massive direct mail guy and spent his career there, says that he has it kind of broken down, and I believe it's 41% in his world is due to the list. Success of the campaign, 41% due to the list. So wrong list, wrong audience. Doesn't matter what you say. If they don't need it, they don't need it, right? Number two. This is the one that you thought would be number one. So this is one and done campaigns.
Just do it and think everyone's going to call you.
Yeah, well, there's, over desperation that, this is the campaign. That's it.
Yeah, but this applies to so many people that run, other forms of advertising. I'll just do it one time. I did radio, I did TV, I did direct mail, I did newspaper, and I can't believe it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, especially with small response, this is tough. Or with statistically small mailings as well is tough. But in general, the rule here is if you come to us and you want to mail a single piece, like a single sales letter, a single postcard, we try our best to talk you out of it because the odds are not in your favor of that working. The money is always in the follow-up. Kind of, a lot of this came out of Dan Kennedy worlds where, we preach and practiced at a minimum 3-piece follow-up. It depends on the math of your business and your campaign. Some people have 6 pieces, some have until you buy or die. It just depends how the math works out, but always multi-step because you get more. Even if you did have a great response on your first piece, usually you can double it by mailing it a couple more times. So you would think you exhausted the list, but some of this is timing as well. So you might have the right list, might just not be the right time. So, granted, they want to replace all your windows in the house, but if they happen to mail you the day after, a baseball destroyed one or something, maybe you'd call them. Not their main intent, by the way, but...
No, they want all of them. They don't just want... You're right. They don't want just the one, but it makes me wonder if 10 years from now, if they continue to mail me that stuff, will I automatically think of them... But that's a lot of... If they have to mail to me for 10 or 12 years before my...
Well, they're not just mailing, by the way. If you start paying attention to that company now, you're going to see cable TV advertising. You're right. You're going to see newspaper ads.
They do a lot of advertising.
That's definitely a marketing company that happens to install Windows.
Yeah.
Which, true. When you're deep in the marketing wormholes, that's kind of how this breaks down usually is you're either marketing led or sales led. And at the end of the day, the service you provide better be good, but nothing happens if nothing's sold. So, all right, that was one and done campaigns. Rolling right through them here. It's like Casey Kasem doing the countdown.
You going to do a long distance dedication here?
Yeah, we need some call-ins, right?
Shout out.
Number 3 is bad copy and design. And they're 2 different things. So this is lumped together. So I guess we could have cheated and we could have had 5 mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Would have sounded a little better. But let's take copy first. Copy can certainly make or break a campaign because you need to be speaking to the concerns and to the desire of the person you're selling to. And a lot of business owners that are trying to write their own copy, they know what they need. They're like, I need some sales.
They do. Well, is this more for service-based?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a product or service. It doesn't.
Well, if I need new windows, I might call them because I just am tired of hearing from them. But I've never really. I probably will now. The next time they send, but I've never really read the card. I couldn't tell you if they're copies.
Yeah, and there's different messages in there.
The design is nice. They do have consistent design between their newspaper ads, their TV stuff. I have noticed that. But if I didn't have a foot in that marketing field, I probably wouldn't even notice it.
Yeah, they live and die on in-person appointments, by the way.
Oh, great. Are they going to knock on my door next?
Well, you have to call first.
Great.
But a lot of times we push that work onto the sales letter. So a sales letter can take the place or at least help the salesperson along and open that door. So if we can really dial in like the core concerns, there was, as an aside, there was a period of time where I was licensed to sell insurance, life and health. And, it's some good sales training, by the way. But we called that in that world twisting the knife. You find the pain point and
Nice.
You twist the knife.
Well, we're all going to die.
Yeah. So back to your windows. Yeah, window is a window, right? But we're going to have to sell you on the fact this saves you energy.
Yep.
It's safer for your home and this and that and the other thing. It's going to take a lot more than price.
Well, I also notice a lot of companies like that, whether it's Felco, which I see on all the Chicago Cubs broadcast, or the window place that I'm talking about. They all do talk about service and installation, and we're not going to mess your house up. And you're right. It isn't just we have some windows.
Well, they have to have something.
Because I can get windows
price.
anywhere for a lot less than what you're going to charge me. Probably I can go to a local Lowe's and get windows and install them myself, and then hope I did it right.
Yeah, I mean, think about this, though, especially on product. The world has changed so much that price is almost not winnable for most small business people.
Correct.
There's no way.
It's a race to the bottom if you compete only on price.
Yeah, so you better have some other reasons why your service is worth the money. I mean, even in the services we provide here, the product that goes out the door, somewhat commoditized. But we have tweaks and spins on it, and we've tied in things to make sure that we're providing better value. And it's necessary because I can't win as a small letter shop. I can't win the commoditized printing game. So we don't want to win that game. We'd rather work and build direct mail campaigns that make you money. So bad copy, wrong messaging is the second of those three pieces. So list would be first, by the way. Copy and messaging and offer. So key is offer. What step you're trying to make them take would be second. And then the second half of this one is design, the actual tangibles. What's this look like, feel like? How's it designed? What, paper stock is it on?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stamp does it have on it? Is it color? Is it black and white? All that stuff, which a lot of business owners that enjoy marketing or learn marketing get caught up on.
People get too obsessed. It's about the same way they get obsessed about their logo or a recreation of. I would think that good copy would offset bad design. You want them both to be good, but I'd rather have good copy, bad design than good design, bad copy, right?
For sure.
I mean, I know you want both, but
yeah, so like I said, 41% for the list, 39% for the offer, and 20% for the physical production.
That's high enough that it matters.
It is.
Because it's got to catch your eye.
You could kill the sale.
Yeah.
If it doesn't match your message, you lose trust.
Yeah.
So if I'm a super premium service provider,
mm-hmm.
and I send out a black and white trifold letter that looks like it was done at the local library and I didn't know how to use the copy machine,
yeah,
we are in trouble.
There is a certain lack of oomph there. That's true.
My notes go here.
Uh-oh, yeah. The monitor's gone.
Yep. It
Dark.
happens. All right. So the design, and that includes like envelope type, size. Did I send it priority mail or regular mail? Was it a postcard? All that stuff. And we've seen jobs stalled because people are worried
they
too
can't
much
decide.
About that.
Why is it that people get so caught up on design? Is it because they took one Adobe Illustrator class and they think they know design? Or, that seems to be a sticking point for a lot of small businesses that can't keep their fingers out of everything.
Well, some of it's the personal aspect. So this is their image and I want it to look this way. And we really want to look at what's most effective, not what makes us feel best as a business owner. This is like the person that buys TV advertising to see themselves on the TV.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, there's a value there. You probably don't want to ascribe too much money to it. Yeah, so it's really the only tangible thing they can see. Also, it's really just a characteristic of letting perfection get in the way of progress. Sometimes you just gotta, okay, let's try this.
Yeah, well, done is better than perfect.
Let's adjust. Yeah,
anytime.
The campaign that never got mailed, I can guarantee yielded 0%.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of the way it goes. All right, number 4, mistake to avoid, and that's not having a tracking mechanism. So, a lot of people come to us, they mail stuff. They don't use the consulting side of our services.
Yep.
And it didn't work.
I learned this the hard way when I bought your DJ business, and I was like, why do you have all these 800 numbers? I'm like, this is silly. Why are all... And I learned that you got to be able to track stuff. Otherwise, you can't ever gauge if anything worked.
Yeah. So I guess there's a good example since you threw it back to that. There's an example I used to use in my presentations for the tracking phone numbers. So back in those days, a lot of the jobs for that industry came out of the yellow pages for us.
Mm-hmm.
And every yellow, there were like 6 directories in the area. I'm assuming it's this way or was this way everywhere. There's like 6 different phone books and they all want your money and blah, blah, blah. So what do? We put a different phone number in every single book. And then the end of the year or halfway through the year, whatever, we look and we see how many people called that. We look at the phone numbers and we see if they became clients. And it becomes very clear if that was an effective place to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the year after I did that all the way around, it pretty much stopped us from advertising in the yellow pages.
Makes sense.
There were like 2 or 3 calls and they were our competitors reaching out to us. So the neat thing, though, do you know the other side of that story?
I don't think so.
The neat thing is what happened after I canceled all the ads the next year. We still ended up in all the books.
Oh, nice.
Like not with big ads, but with the single lines.
Oh, sure.
But not only that, they all stole the data from each other. So we had like 5 listings in every book and we didn't pay anything. So
there you go.
Had anyone been
That's
using
funny.
the book, it would have been great. Free advertising. So
tracking today, how do you track something today?
First off, the phone number is one. Still phone number tracking for sure. Second way we track is tracking URLs. So don't say go to, in our case, JurassicMarketing.com. We would have, newslettermarketingbook.com or something like that. So something that's not your main domain. By the way, JurassicMarketing.com/podcast, also no good. Because anyone with a couple of brain cells that grew up in the past 50 years is going to go to the main URL, not the page you told them to go to.
Okay.
Another caveat is if you don't provide a URL, Google will provide one for you.
Oh, which is
meaning
not what you want.
Yeah, your client is going to go research you. They're going to type your info in Google and they're going to find you.
Okay.
They're still going to do that, by the way. And we see about 40, 50% bleed off and go through an unintended channel.
Okay.
So if we're tracking 10 people went to the special URL, there's probably another 8 to 10 that found their way through the main site because they wanted to do homework before they do what you told them to do.
People still navigate a website to find what they want?
Well, a lot of people use the Google search bar as the address bar.
As the address. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, at this point, I think more and more societally, we're getting to the point of by the time they've reached out, they've almost made a decision on purchase already.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to find their info one way or another.
Okay.
Along with the .coms and stuff would be the QR codes. Same thing, forward those through a tracking URL or use a tracking QR code service. By the way, if you use QR code by itself, they don't know the .com, but I suggest all 3 of them. You want to give them as many ways as possible. So phone number, tracking URL, and trackable QR code. And then know that there's bleed on it. So if you're hitting close to goals on the campaign or you're close to achieving what you set out to do, know that with the bleed there, you're probably there. So again, there's always slop in all of this. There's slop in lists, there's slop in testing messaging, and there's slop in the tracking mechanism as well. But for sure, my general rule is if I'm spending X dollars on a direct mail campaign, pretty much any direct mail campaign, because it costs real money, I'm going to have tracking mechanisms there. And that's something we do for our clients as a fairly cheap add-on about what it would cost them to do it themselves. But certainly you don't need us. You can buy tracking services if you really want on your own. So, all right. We got through 4 plus the bonus 1 or 2, right?
All the things you shouldn't do. And they
it's
they
easier
seem
to tell you what not to do, right?
Yeah, it's easy when you think about them like, oh, yeah, why would I do that? Or why wouldn't I do that? But in the day-to-day, like getting things done and only wanting to outsource what you have to, although I suppose there are business owners who are like, I will outsource everything I could. Could you please do all of it? Do the tracking, do the this, do the copy, do the print.
Yeah, and some examples of this. So we have a couple campaigns that we send to the same industry, different geography for a different client.
Okay.
All right. And client A has a great ROI. They mail more and more, and all of a sudden they're doing 6 figures of business with us in direct mail every year. Client B mails damn near the exact same thing and cancels after the second mailing and says, I didn't get crap out of that. And it's the same list mechanism, the same letter, the same physical presentation. Well, this is where the tracking mechanisms are important, because then we have data on, okay, well, you got these 4 phone calls. What happened to those? And a lot of times when we dig into that, because maybe it is a campaign where it's small and there's 4 phone calls, and we dig into that and 3 of them were garbage. Well, this one, what happened with it? Oh, they became a client. All right, what's a client worth to you? They spent about $15,000. And you spent $1,500 on the campaign. That's a slam dunk.
It's a good ROI.
So we got,
yeah. I mean,
we have to have the tracking to get past the emotion that, the phone didn't ring off the hook.
That makes sense. So versus like sheer calls and hoping to convert them, especially in an industry like that where a client could be worth $15,000, $20,000, they're not worth a one-time $79 purchase.
Yeah. I mean, you better know like your back end on how long you can keep them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be pretty hard to break even on $79 unless
you're doing volume. But that makes sense.
Well, it still doesn't, because you can't get the piece down cheap enough unless you know exactly who that customer is and exactly what to tell them.
Okay.
But you better have some recurrence or something on there. Otherwise, direct mail is going to be a very tough road for you. The other thing that matters is the piece type, okay? So different piece types have different benefits. So postcards, it's already open. Like, we don't have to get past the envelopes. Envelopes, we can mimic personal mail. Newsletters is our third one that we love because it negates a lot of these mistakes by its very nature. So the newsletter goes to people that were already in their world. They already know us. The one and done campaigns, no, the newsletter is repetition over and over and over every month to build trust. Bad copy and design. We have the format that works, but not only that, it's forgivable because this is an education relational piece and it doesn't come across as a sales pitch. Yes, of course, we're trying to build a business with it, but it's not read that way. And then finally, no tracking mechanism. Of course, we can put tracking phone numbers in there as well. And you would be amazed. So some of the tracking numbers we do call recording on as well, and we can audit those calls. And I'm thinking of a particular practitioner that we audited some of the calls. And these were existing patients were calling the phone number on the newsletter instead of the one that should have been saved in their cell phone already. So, and there were referrals. There was pass along on there too. So it's important to know what type of lead is coming from what tracking mechanism, because that helps you hone in the messaging as well. So where you can not only track, but you can record and audit where appropriate. Obviously, certain disclaimers in certain states to do that, but it doesn't really affect response. We're pretty used to hearing and ignoring. This call may be recorded.
Sure. But that also, on the back end, from a sales perspective, the recording of the calls, the tracking of, because you're right, a business owner might say, this isn't working for me. And then you dig in and you're like, wait a minute, you got 6 calls, 2 actually became clients. And how much are they worth? It probably shines a whole new light on it, or it allows them to say what's not right in our sales process.
Oh, yeah, you know where to look next. And I don't want to get too far off the topic of direct mail here, but we're in the land of AI right now as well. When you record the calls, you can score the calls and you can improve the sales conversion at that point too, because every little tweak and every little conversion on every step adds up to the difference between success and failure. There's not like one thing that's just going to destroy everything. It's little tweaks here and there. And that's tough because sometimes that's, overtime trial and error. And as an entrepreneur, particularly if you're like me, it's like, I want the result. Like,
want it to work now.
Do it right now. And I do. I want to mail it once and I want it to work.
It's not going to happen.
It might.
I mean, probably.
Lightning does strike. I mean, we will give you the best chance of it working. But
that's like
we get to use all our experience and all the failures to get you on the right track.
Sure. That's almost like a bad scenario, because then they think it's going to happen every time. It works so well. Can you mail one more?
You know what? If we knew who it was sending to and it hit, it's repeatable because we can expand.
Well,
that.
That's true too.
This is the beauty of direct mail. It does scale pretty well once you get a hit. So that's it. Let's recap real quick. Wrong list, one and done campaigns, bad copy or design, and no tracking mechanisms. For sure, those mistakes will make direct mail, or by the way, any other media, not work for you. So that's it. We build these things for people all the time. If you want us to look at what you're doing, we're happy to. But if you want a system that actually works, that's what we do for a living. That's why we're talking on this podcast. So we can help you with that. Next episode.
What's next?
We're switching gears a little bit. We're going to talk about what to write when you don't know what to write. So if you start doing what we and others are preaching and sending newsletters and relational copy and e-newsletters and all this, at a certain point, you're like, what on earth am I going to talk about? And that's a problem because then it prevents stuff from getting done. And it's that repetition over time that gets stuff. So we're going to give you a cheat sheet of what to write when you can't think of what to write. So
Makes sense.
there you go. I think this is a wrap for episode 63. Join us approximately next week when we feel like it for episode 64.
Thanks for listening to the Triceratalks podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave your comments. For more information on how Jurassic Marketing Direct Mail can help grow your business, visit JurassicMarketing.com.